Let me record the then. So just a quick review. We today are going to learn about the Python print statement, but before that, I would want to tell you about IDE. IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. It's basically the program in which you can create new files, save the files that you have created, edit the old files, open the old files that you have created, run them, and debug them. There is a very important word that I have just used, and its name is debug. We will discuss what debug is, but today let's just focus on what is IDE. So Python idle that we use, it's basically an IDE that we will be using. The whole process of coding is basically divided into four parts. The first part is that you write a code in the language that you have chosen. Like you would be writing a code in the Python language. Every language has its own grammar. So when writing a Python code, it means that you are following the language and words for, sorry, the grammar and words that are used in Python language. When we write the code in Python language, that would mean that we are writing in the code which is compatible with the practices of Python. So once you have written that code in the Python language, then comes the next step. And that next step is that whatever code you have written, that is supposed to be translated into the machine language or the computer's language. This process is called code translation. And the software that helps you to do that, or the program that helps you to translate the code from your language into the computer's language, that program is called as the translator. Okay. I hope that everyone is clear about these things here so far. So far we have discussed all these things. After that comes the third point. Once your code has been translated into the machine language or the computer's language, what would happen next is computer would read the code that we have sent to it and has been translated into the computer's language. Computer would take that code in its own language and then would obviously try to perform an action that we have told it to do. So once it performs an action, some results are going to be generated that we would be able to see with the code. So this is the whole process so far. If there is any question that you guys want to ask, you can ask right now about these things that I have mentioned.
Sir,
Yes.
it's not related to topic, but I couldn't understand how do you save on Python.
Okay. I would be coming towards that point, but if there is any question regarding the things that I have just told you, let's register that first. Anyone, any question? Okay. So if you guys do not have any questions in mind, let's move ahead. I will open Python here. Okay. So let's say I open Python. And in Python, this code translation part. Translation of code. We have learned this part, and it's basically the second step in the programming process that we are following. That's the second step, that we write a code. After that, the code is translated into the machine language. In this kind of translation is of two types basically. First type of translation, let me show you how it works. I hope that you can see my screen right now, and there is Python. So firstly, if you do not open a new file from here, you would be in the direct mode for Python. So Python has two modes. First mode is direct mode, and then you have an indirect mode. Direct mode is like that. It's very simple, works just like a calculator. You type in the code and try to run it, and it works out every step that you have taken so far. So that's how it works. Let me show you. Let's say that if I add 18 plus 35 here, it would add those numbers and give me the answer, just like the calculator. 65 multiplied by 8, it gives me the answer. 87 minus 23, it gives me the answer. Currently, what it is doing is very simple. It's working like in an indirect, sorry, a direct mode. A direct mode is like you simply just write the instruction and that is directly executed. You do not have to save it or you do not have to like run it. Let's say that if I go to a new file, I create a new file, I write this code 18 plus 35. You see that nothing is happening right now. Even if I want to run it from here, if I say that I want to run module, it would only run after I have saved this document somewhere. So it is not direct. It is basically a pattern in which you would have to save the things first and then you would be able to run it. So this method is called indirect method of Python. In this kind of method, you have to save the things first before you can start running them. Now, let's get back to the original question that we had. The original topic that we had today was how to use print statement. If I would go back on the top, you would be able to see that we were supposed to learn about print statement in Python. So let me tell you how the print statement works. It is a statement through which you can display something on screen. So if you want to show something on screen, you can use the print statement. I will show you how to use the print statement in both direct and indirect mode. Print statement is very simple. The pattern of writing the print statement is very important. All you need to do is write print and then put two brackets. Between those two brackets, put those inverted commas and then write any statement that you want to write. Let's say that you would write, hello, how are you all? Then I may say, I hope everyone is fine. So let's say that if I use this statement and I would have to just try to enter this statement in the program code like that, print, I would paste it basically, but I would remove the part that I do not need. And make sure to start with the inverted commas and end with the inverted commas. Now, when I would do that, it would exactly print this whole statement written in green directly on your screen. Currently, we are using the direct method. So whatever code I am typing in, just pressing enter, it is trying to get executed. But that does not happen very often. What happens instead is that we write in the indirect method, we try to write all the code that we want to use, and then we save that file. After saving that file, we just run it. So that's a simple thing that we do. So let's say I now would tell you how to open a new file and how to save a new file. So first thing that you need to do is to create a new file before saving it. So in order to create a new file, all you need to do is go to file and click on new file. So once you are here, you can start typing your code directly in the first line. This code should be perfect as per the writing patterns. It should not be different. It should not have the logical or syntactical mistakes. It might have some runtime or logical mistakes, but there must never be what do we call it? A syntax mistake. Syntactical mistakes are not allowed. If you make some mistake in the syntax, it means that you are not following the pattern the way you should write your alphabets, the way you should write your statements. So if you are not following the pattern, the computer would never understand that what do you want to print or what do you want to display. So it might not be able to help you. So as I told you that today we are learning about print statement, I will tell you the pattern once again. You would type print and this says, what does it read to be? Just give me a second. I need to get some water for myself. So I was talking about the pattern of writing a print statement. The pattern is very simple. All you need to do is write print. Okay. And then put these brackets, opening and closing both. Okay. In the middle of these brackets, if you are using a tab, what you can do is write print, open a bracket, put these inverted commas, put 1 by 1, put 2 by 2, that's fine. Put one inverted comma, and then you can write anything that you want to appear on your screen. Let's say that you can write, my name is Umar Javed. It's basically a kind of an introduction that you can write. And then go to file and click on save to get your file saved. There is only one thing that you need to remember while you are trying to save the files. And that very important thing is, do not save your files in the default directories. Try to save it where you can easily access them again. For example, what we can do here is, instead of just saving it here, I would try to save it somewhere safe so that I can access it again and again and again. So for that, I am going to go to this PC, go to this folder which says E, and then here I have made coding level 2 batch 2 or coding level 2, yes, coding level 2 folder. So I can save my files here. This is print statement file, so I can write it name like that so that it's easy for us to work on it. So this says my name is OMAR. Now when I save it, after that I need to see that how it works. So see how it works, we need to run this code. So running this code is also very simple. All you need to do is click here on run and then click on run module, and this would appear here that this is the code that you have written. It basically would be doing this. See the word print that we use, it means display. Okay, show. This word print means show or display. It means that whatever we have written here in these commas, in these inverted commas, in these quotation marks, that is going to, as it is, appear on your screen, as it is show on your screen. So that is why it is saying my name is Umar Javed. Okay. So the next thing that we want to learn about is about using a print statement but in a different way. So this pattern of writing a print statement is correct. There is another pattern of writing a print statement, and that is print. Instead of adding one inverted comma, you can add the symbol of two inverted commas as well, and then write anything that you want to show on screen. Let's say I would write I am a teacher. Close it, save it, and run it. Now you would be able to see that it shows two lines. First it writes my name is Umar Javed. Second it writes I am a teacher. Now, isn't it difficult that we have to write a lot of lines? Let's say that if we want to introduce ourselves, isn't it difficult that we have to write line by line, and for every line we would have to use this print command and all. So there is another alternative of doing that. That is basically the third method of using the print statement. Now I have given you two methods. The first method was with single inverted comma or single quotation mark. The second one was with a double quotation mark. Now we are going to use, how many quotation marks do you guess? We have used a quotation mark with a single quotation mark. Now we have used with a double quotation mark. After that, I'm going to use three quotation marks. So I'm going to write similarly again, print, write three inverted commas, and then start typing in whatever I want to type. For example, my name is Umar Javed. Just press enter and start typing the next line. Just press enter and start typing the next line. My name is Umar Javed. I am a teacher. I live in Lahore. I teach ICT to kids. Okay. What else I want to write about myself? Yeah. My favorite color is blue. I like to eat ice cream. So these are a few statements that I have written. Remember that for every thing that we have, every opening thing that we have, we need to have a closing thing for that as well. Like you have opened this bracket, so you would have to close it also. Fine. And you have used three quotation marks to tell that you are writing a statement that is given in multiple lines. So you are going to add three inverted commas at the end also, representing that you have closed whatever you had started. So this three inverted commas, they are used for something which is called multi-line statement or multi-line print. Some of the times it is also called. So multi-line print is used so that you could write multiple lines in one go and you do not have to use print command again and again and again. So this third one was about multi-line statements. So that is how you print that. Let's say I would save it and I would try to run it. Now it's going to write 7 lines, 2 lines previously, and then the remaining part of the lines that I wrote in the other code. So there is a very funny thing also that I want to tell you guys. Let's say that you want to tell something with the print statement and you have to write it like that. Print I haven't seen her, him, let's say. I haven't seen him today. And I enclose it with two inverted commas. But if you would remember that if you are using haven't, have not, so you might be using an inverted comma here also. So if as you remember that these inverted commas are there so that these inverted commas, or in other words, these quotation marks are there so that you could write your text, you could write your, let's say, text more effectively. So let's say that if I try to save it, I would remove everything from here other than that. And now I'm going to run it. You can spot a mistake here. That is that this code that I have written, this statement that I have written, this is not in all green. This has some black part as well. So black part means that the code has not been correct, but I haven't done anything wrong. And I have written a very simple thing. I haven't seen him today, and I have put them in the commas the way I should, but it is still not working. So I would try to run it and it would give me some sort of an error that it can't work. See, it tells me there is an error. So this error is basically coming due to this inverted comma here, this quotation mark over here. This quotation mark makes Python think that maybe this is the only thing that you want to show, and these are some sort of variables that are out of this statement choice. But which is wrong, because we have our intentions that this is the same line and they are enclosed in inverted commas. So for this kind of a thing, we use escape characters. An escape character is basically a backslash, a forward slash actually. So this forward slash is used so that you can make your code correct. Every time you would have to use an inverted comma in the statement, you would be using a slash before that. Now, when I try to run it, you would see the things differently. It exactly shows how I wanted it to be. Similarly, all the statements in which you might have to use inverted commas more than one times. Let's say I would say, I want to put this word him in inverted commas, and now when I run it, there might be an error also. So no, currently there is no error, it's fine. So if you had used this with double quotation marks instead of the single quotation marks like that, there might have been a problem. There might have been a problem. Just try to run it once again. It says the invalid syntax. So for this kind of statement, what you would have to do again is start it with the backslash. Every time you put inverted commas or commas anyway, you have to put a start along with that before the inverted comma actually. So that makes your code work perfectly fine. So it's working perfectly fine now. So there are three types of, let me just repeat everything that I have told you. There are three types of print statements that you can use. First print statement is with single commas. Second print statement is with double quotation marks, not single quotation marks. And third one is with triple quotation marks. In the first one, what you have to do is with single quotation marks, you just need to be careful if there is any other place where you need to use a single quotation mark, you have to use a slash before that. Similarly, if you are using a double quotation mark statement and you have to use a statement in which you want to use a double quotation mark inside the whole statement, you would have to use the escape character. Escape character is the backslash. So use the backslash before the additional inverted commas or double quotation marks, and that would help you figure out how these things should work. And the third part is that how do you write multiple lines on the same go? In a same go, if you want to write multiple lines and want them to show on your screen, what you can do simply is use a three inverted commas, three inverted single commas, where you start writing and three simple inverted commas at the end where you stop writing. So use that and your code would work fine. It would help you to write multi-line statement as well. I will tell you about F strings in tomorrow's lesson, and we would be creating a program which tells us a story about ourselves or someone, some user, by giving him some instructions, kind of how in artificial intelligence basically works. Okay. Just go through this part of the code, practice all of the code lines in a way so that you know that you have perfected them. These code lines, I have opened my screen in front of you. All you can do is just go through these code lines, try to write them along, and if there is any mistake that you find, do let me know that what was the problem that you had faced.
Cannot start screen.
Anything that you guys want to ask?
No. Can you show again like what did you do with the dashes?
Okay, yes, again with the slashes. Okay, so let
I
me
just want to see how does it look like.
it looks something like that. For every additional, let's say you have to, every additional inverted comma that you put in, like I have put these two inverted commas additionally here, you need to put a slash before them, not after, only before. So it would understand it as a quotation mark for this word, not for the whole print statement. Sure, you were talking about the same thing, na?
Yes.
Okay.